Welcome to NCIX Tech Tips. Logitech's new line of gaming peripherals is called the G Series, which is similar to the old name, G Series, but these ones are different. They have an S on the end, and that is for their new slogan, which is Science Wins. Let's start with an overview. They've got a couple new gaming headsets, the G230 and the G430, the main difference being color, as well as that one of them comes with a USB sound card included. But the real difference here, where the Science Wins slogan comes in, is with the mice and keyboards. So we've got the G100S, the G400S, the G500S, and the G700S, as well as the G510S and the G19S. These use materials that are designed to last longer and be hydrophobic and fingerprint resistant, so that sweat and greasy fingerprints and all that shouldn't interfere with your gaming to the same extent that they would have in the past. The other thing is things like the keyboard keys are using a double UV coating in order to prevent the keycaps from wearing out, and the mice themselves are using more advanced materials. So unlike, say, for example, the G9 mouse, which had a bit of a reputation for the grippy coating on the side coming off over time, these ones should be extremely rugged and durable. Two of the biggest reasons to buy a Logitech peripheral are their gaming software, which is excellent, as well as their warranty support, which is also excellent, both in my personal experience and from what I've heard from others. There's a 3-year warranty on everything you see here, but we're going to kick things off with the G100S. This is an optical gaming mouse, and it looks pretty much like the kind of mouse that you would normally find in a bag as opposed to in a box. So the upgrades that Logitech has made are not necessarily to the shape. It is an ambidextrous shape, but it's the internals where they've really changed things around. So it has a 250 to 2500 dpi optical sensor inside, your standard sort of slippy feet on the bottom that are rated for up to 250 kilometers of wear and tear. This is where those better materials sort of things come into the G series. It's also got a DPI switcher button on the top, in addition to the left, right, and middle click, and of course, Logitech's new, more advanced materials where they're using that hydrophobic coating on the top, so it should be more sweat resistant. The last thing to note about this one is, because it is the most basic mouse, is it's only capable of 500 hertz, so 500 reports per second compared to 1000 hertz for the higher end mice. The G400S brings back that iconic Logitech mouse shape that's been there for years, and it's been there for years because it works really, really well. My first performance mouse was the one that came with the MX Duo combo, and it was pretty much this exact shape, and it worked pretty darn well for me. On the bottom of the mouse, we find that 400 to 4000 dpi optical sensor. You can configure that within the software, as well as larger slippy pads that are also rated for 250 kilometers. Once we get up to the top of the mouse, we also find more buttons than the G100S. Left and right buttons on the left side are a must. These are awesome. They're incredible. Back and forward in the browser with these buttons changed the way I use my computer. That much is for sure. You've got your standard left and right and middle click, as well as dedicated DPI changing buttons. So up and down are the plus and minus, and then the last one down here is actually a reset to default DPI button that you can program to do whatever you want if you don't actually want that and you don't mind cycling through the other DPIs that are available. For that matter, using the software, all the buttons can be reprogrammed to do whatever you want them to. In terms of surface materials, we've got the hydrophobic top, and upgraded over the G100S, we've got a nice rubberized textured coating on the sides that allows you to easily lift the mouse off your gaming surface if you reach the edge. The G500S is where things really start to feel like a truly premium gaming mouse. It has that iconic right-handed shape, but on the bottom we find a laser sensor that can do anywhere from 200 to 8200 dpi for the ultimate in fine tuning. We also find the 250 kilometer slippy pads, and check that out, removable weight cartridge. So Logitech gives you a full complement of 1.7 gram and 4.5 gram weights, so you can turn your mouse into a lightweight mouse, a heavyweight mouse, and pretty much anything in between. Once we flip it over onto the other side, we find lots more buttons, all the buttons. Forward, back, and an additional button on the left-hand side. DPI up and down on the left side of your index finger. Your usual left, right, and middle click, and this guy right here. Oh, I love this. They've added their premium metal scroll wheel, which has some nice momentum to it, so you can click through the different settings, or you can put it in free spin mode and quickly, hear that spin? quickly and easily scan through documents, web pages, or whatever else. It's something that I actually genuinely used a lot. That middle click is also a little bit more advanced still, and it has a left and a right lean, so you can bind additional functionality there. We've got that same hydrophobic coating on the top, a DPI indicator screen over here on the left, as well as a further upgraded grippy side. So this one doesn't have like a rubberized texture. It has more like stipple ceilings, where it has a quite a texture to it rather than just grip, and it feels very durable. I really don't think you'd be likely to accidentally drop it. The last thing is they've added a braided cable over the G400S, making it less likely to snag on things and less likely to be damaged by annoying cats like mine. The G700S is kind of the Cadillac, so to speak. It has an upgraded ergonomic shape that I actually find I also really like. This was first introduced not as long ago as that iconic right-handed shape, but it is still right-handed. Okay, the next thing you're going to find is an 8200 to 200, depending on whatever you could possibly want, DPI, laser sensor on the bottom, more slippy pads, 250 kilometers, all that noise, an on-off switch on the bottom. This is a wireless mouse, and check this out, Eneloop batteries inside. Love it. The best rechargeable batteries on the market for consumers, and that's what Logitech's using in their mouse. So it's great because it means the mouse will come ready to use out of the box, and there's no real memory effect. I have Eneloops I've been using for years, which is fantastic. Button-wise, holy cow, this has a lot of buttons. So on the left side, under the extremely ample thumb space, there are 4 buttons which you can bind to left, right, forward, back, whatever you could possibly want. Another DPI indicator right here that allows you to see up to 5 different profiles that you have stored. On the right-hand side of your index finger, you've got 3 programmable G buttons. Under your middle finger, you've got, that premium scroll wheel again that can either be in clicky mode or free spin mode. Another programmable G button, your left and right click, your left and right lean and tilt on the middle click button, and of course a hydrophobic coating, that same textured finish that feels very durable on the left and right, and the wirelessness of it. Now I have to confess, I'm trialing this mouse. I may switch to this mouse, so I don't have the receiver and the receiver extension cable here with me, but it comes with a receiver and receiver extension cable, as well as a charging cable. So you can plug this into the mouse to charge it, or you can also just plug it in order to use it as a wired mouse if your wireless battery runs out in the middle of a gaming session. So it'll charge while you're using it, you can pop it off once it's charged again and use it completely wirelessly. The one thing I could possibly say that's negative about this mouse so far is that it's a little bit on the heavy side, and this cable would be nice if it was braided and or a little bit thinner, because it's quite heavy, although most of the time you'd be using it wireless anyway. Now the keyboards, it really does come down to the more advanced surface materials. So the keycaps themselves have a double UV coating that should make them quite durable. And get this, the glossy surface under the keys has a hydrophobic coating that makes it extremely fingerprint resistant. In fact, compared to the G710 Plus, which is Logitech's not Science Wins keyboard, it's pretty much impossible to make them all marked up and greasy looking the same way it is with that keyboard. Glossy gaming keyboards have been sort of a bit of a head scratcher for me for a long time, but if you put this coating on them, it actually kind of works. The layouts on them are fairly standard, so you've got your long backspace shifts and enter keys, and then a full number pad, arrow keys, F keys, all that kind of stuff. Media controls are up in the top right, and I love the way Logitech implements their volume wheel with a nice rubber grip on it. And they both have brightness adjustment buttons as well as controls for the integrated game panel LCDs. Now the G19S has a full color game panel LCD, whereas the G510S has a monochrome one, and the G19S's one is also quite a bit bigger, giving you more options in terms of what you can do. Check out Logitech's website for a lot of the stock apps, which include things like performance monitors and clocks, as well as some of the third-party apps that are available for it. The other difference is that the G510S has 18 programmable G keys on the left, whereas the G19S has only 12. The G19S is the more high-end keyboard in terms of the pricing, but I personally find that particularly with my smaller hands, I wouldn't reach a third row of programmable keys anyway. You can have 3 layers of functionality for those programmable keys, controlled with the M1, M2, and M3 keys. You can program macros on the fly, and switching the keyboard into game mode disables the Windows button. Last but not least, the G510S has an integrated sound card that operates off the single USB port. So it plugs in, this gives it data, power, and sound, which will be better than sort of low-end onboard sound, but not as good as a dedicated sound card. It's just great for convenience because it means you can plug your headset and mic directly into your keyboard without even using an audio pass-through cable. The G230 and G430 are quite similar. In fact, the only difference is the color and the inclusion of a USB sound card adapter with the G430 that gives you Dolby 7.1 virtual surround on this particular headset. In fact, it'll give it to you on any headset because all you have to do is plug in your analog connections for headphones and microphone in order to make it work. Very cool. Love to see it included this way as opposed to changing the connector at the end to a dedicated USB connector. The cables are extremely light and flexible. They're braided, so they feel quite premium. And the headsets are very lightweight with boom mics and, of course, adjustable headbands. They use metal pieces for the bridging between the ear cups and the headband itself, which gives you good confidence about how well it's going to hold up in a LAN bag, say, for example. And the boom mic can be adjusted, has a noise-canceling microphone on it, for sort of larger chins or smaller chins, depending on what you need. The ear cups fold flat, so you can easily tuck them into a side pocket of a bag. And beyond that, there's not really too much to say about them. Oh, except, this is good, if you're all like sweaty and stuff, you can take the ear pads off, you can wash them, and then put them back on your headset for the ultimate in, good gamer hygiene. So what is there to say about Logitech's new and improved G series? Well, I think that pretty much sums it up. It's new and improved. The things that you already liked about the existing products are still there, hence the reason why they didn't change the model numbers very much at all. But they've added some improvements with their emphasis on science, and that's where the S comes in the products where there's an S. So what you already liked, made better, in a nutshell. Thanks for checking out this episode of NCIX Tech Tips. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this from ncix.com.